Welcome back to XCOM Enemy Within Long War Classic Iron Man playthrough. I am Anthiar, and you'll notice I made a slight little intro thing there, kind of learning as I do for the video editing, so there's still some issues I'm trying to work out. I think I have those cleaned up by the 5th video, but bear with me as we keep going through this. Today we have our first UFO that we managed to shoot down. It's a small in the United States. We'll be taking a squad out there to go try to clean up whatever mess is still kicking around. So I have a squad built up and ready to go, and let's get to work. So I have a specialist infantry with a shotgun kind of babysitting the squad of rookies. Um, Outsiders can be pretty lethal to rookies with their 10 hit point and regeneration ability right off the bat, and their plasma carbines are nothing to sneeze at. So our specialist infantry will be kind of doing the babysitting duty. As well, we have ceramic plates on everybody to try to make sure that that 1 hit point of armor might be the difference between life and death. Plenty of flashbangs sitting around to cover out the outsider or anything else. 1 AP and 1 frag to destroy cover. And we'll be on an urban block, so we can expect a lot of buildings to mess with. So let's get the Sky Ranger out there and go to work. So people ought to be noticing that the game audio isn't coming through on this video, and it probably won't be on the next video either. In trying to kind of clean up the audio and fix the video, I was making some attempts, and first attempt on the audio seems to have had my recording software lie to me. It's free, so I can't really complain too much, but it said it was recording and then not so much. And since it's on Iron Man, I can't exactly go back and redo the mission. So you're getting future me kind of doing a narration after the fact, but I'll try to keep everything pertinent and kind of keep to the tone that I was getting while going through the mission in general. You can see the map is the busted up city ruins with a crashed UFO. Lots of cover, lots of building stuff that we can deal with. And it should let us get pretty close to our targets before we trip them if we're careful, and we'll try to use that to our advantage. Okay, so a note here on the map and the terrain. You got the UFO over here to the left, nestled in a couple buildings. Got some other buildings off here to the right on the other side of the main street. The buildings on the left give you, and you see I'm kind of fighting with this jittery thing from the encoding, which is really kind of annoying. Hopefully that does clear up on future recordings. But you got the upper levels. The cover is kind of sporadic up there, so it can be kind of a liability, but height elevation or height advantage does give you a significant bonus to aim, and I believe it helps your defense as well. On the left, you got some buildings with multiple levels, and I think here my best bet is to kind of go and clear the right side and look for enemy pods and try to clear them out before I get to the UFO itself, since the outsider in the UFO will call all the pods that remain on the map to his defense if you reveal him before killing everything else. So you've got kind of a lot of terrain, and it's all busted up buildings, but I believe it's going to be off to the right, and try to see if we can't figure out what exactly we're up against before we go after the UFO proper. So PFC Kosir starts us out on the right, gets us some visibility into the building itself. PFC Amar will then take front and also get us some visibility. And once we've kind of cleared, you want to be really careful when you're revealing new areas, but your movement's pretty safe as long as you don't reveal any new areas. So I'm kind of looking around, trying to figure out exactly, where I can continue moving if I want. Finishing your move forward with a dash is kind of dangerous because if you trip that pod, then your trooper has no movement left with which to kind of react to that, and it's a good way to get people killed. So the kind of standard, I suppose, is to blue move everybody forward, Overwatch, blue move everybody forward, Overwatch. Although if you do have people lagging behind, you can feel free to dash them up to rejoin the squad, just so long as you're not pushing them forward into unrevealed territory where you don't know where things might be. So, as you see, everybody took a move forward, nothing got revealed, kind of making sure I'm aware of my surroundings, kind of thinking about where I'm going to be able to move forward to in the next turn. Checking on cover, and so I was thinking about dashing some people forward but Overwatch just seemed like the better trick. The more shots you have on Overwatch, the safer you're potentially going to be. So it's pretty much going to follow the same pattern until I make contact, which if anybody's watched or played the game before, it's probably a fairly familiar pattern. But at this point, I'm kind of trying to move forward without pushing too close on the left, now that I've kind of committed to these buildings here on the right side of the street. So I'm kind of making a line with the troops. And once I've established that forward point, now I know it's like, hey, just go ahead and, even if I needed to, I could dash somebody up behind there, and it shouldn't be an issue. Of course, on this side, moving forward around this corner, there's more area to reveal, so I have to be a little bit more careful, but nothing doing there, and so I just decided that it's pretty safe to go ahead and dash all the way forward, which I do. Gets everybody in a nice little formation, and we overwatch again. Then I'm able to identify some sectoids out that direction, so I know that I need to try to set up for potential contact there as soon as possible. So now I'm wandering around the camera a little bit. I had one of my troops say they could see what we came for, which is them letting you know that, hey, I saw a meld canister. I couldn't really tell where it was, and so I'm kind of roaming the camera around trying to figure out where exactly I'm looking for, where am I trying to find this damn thing. And it turns out that I don't think it was actually visible. It was kind of still in the fog, even though my trooper caught sight of it, and I kind of gave up. So here, it's like I know that the sectoids were toward the end of those buildings, and so I kind of want to fan out a little bit. There's a bit of a chance of activation on the left with that first move, but the wider you can kind of make the front, the more likely you're able to run somebody around the end to get a flank. On the other hand, the wider you make the front, the more likely you are to reveal multiple pods of aliens, and so it's fine. It's kind of a fine balance to walk. But by moving forward, I now have some options on how to react depending on where exactly I make contact. Go Overwatch again, and you can see that here's a pod of sectoids, and Overwatch kicks in. We start flinging bullets down range. Now I got one, missed with two other shots, which is unfortunate, but especially at this point with the, I believe it's a -20 for Overwatch. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it's something along those lines. You know, it's pretty significant penalty on Overwatch shots, so I'm pretty happy to get the one hit there in general. And now I get to try to figure out exactly how I want to respond to this. They are off to the left a little bit, so that gives me some time to think. It's like, do I want to try to get up on top of this building? And you can see that I'm trying to kind of assess where I can get troops up to and still have opportunity for fire. There's only the one way up, so that kind of limits my abilities to get people up there. And I finally decide that it's better just to move forward and maybe try to press toward this other building to get troops on top. It also gives me the advantage of I can actually loop around and potentially get some flanks with these troops if the sectoids come back to the street. I want to have the ability to react as much as possible. The trick is you always want to make sure that you're planning at least one, you know, if X happens, I need to do Y. If A happens, I need to do B. It's really helpful to have an idea of what can happen. You know, what are the enemies that are still on the map? What can they realistically do? And if they do what I think they're going to do, how do I respond to that? So moving this trooper up into cover, that's heavy cover on a corner cover, which is really strong position. Now he's probably not going to be able to see from there to the enemies unless they come far around down to the left. As you can see now, you can just notice the meld that I had quote revealed before. So now I'm trying to prepare for a fight across the street. Basically, I'm pretty sure that they're going to come back from where they were, and I want to be prepared to be able to have the best cover available and not risk getting flanks at all. So I keep an overwatch. Sometimes that'll keep them honest. Usually, if they can't see the troop, they may not be intimidated by it because they don't know it's there. But it's a freebie, so it's kind of hard to say no. Still trying to figure out this last person. I think I finally elect to bring him around the building in the intention that, hey, you know, I can actually probably pick up that meld. And so I choose to put him into the cover here. I didn't go to that last corner because that would have revealed further terrain from peeking around, and I really wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to trigger another pod there. So for alien activity, I had a sector that moved to the truck and then tried to run the overwatch. It was looks like a 46% chance, and well, we took advantage of that one, put him flat on the ground there. That did free up that cover position for a sectoid who is recipient of a mind merge, yeah, whatever. Yeah, they're psychically linked, which makes him a little bit stronger. He gets extra health, which they can kind of heal using that. It's kind of slow, but he's also put himself in a position that I can flank. And so I decided that I really want to take advantage of that, and I think it's better if I do it with this trooper who hasn't got a kill yet. Now, with rookies, you always got to remember, flank doesn't necessarily mean you're actually going to hit something. 63% chance, so it's by no means guaranteed. It's always frustrating when you miss those flanks. Usually you've worked so hard for them, or the aliens made a blunder, but we do have troops that are in position to take this roof and exploit the height advantage. That also gives us a bead on the initiator of the mind meld, and taking him out, as we do here, not only kills him, but does a significant amount of damage to the recipient of the meld. You see he's down to 1 health now. We got him on the ropes, so to speak. So now it comes down to figuring out exactly how we're going to go about finishing him off. And I'm looking at how can I get to this meld. And I decided to go for the dash. You know, I'm going to have cover from both angles. So even if there was something there to reveal, I would have been pretty well set. Thankfully there wasn't, so next turn I'm pretty well able to pick that up with no serious reservations. Get some overwatch here. And we're just able to get on the roof with PFC Kosir. Give her an opportunity to maybe plant this guy. It's 22. That's not really doable with a shotgun at that range. Which means that's actually a specialist Kosir. Here I am using the wrong ranks. But try to go for the pistol. Didn't happen. It's not exactly surprising. But now we've got this guy kind of pinned in on multiple angles. With aiming angles, this ends up being a 51. It's a flip of the coin, but being that he's flanked, he's probably going to move. Aliens don't like to sit in a flanked position. But we decided to go ahead and take that chance. I do have somebody on Overwatch already. Now I'm trying to reevaluate that high cover. You know, I've got aiming angles plus 30. You know, so he's only getting 15. A bonus of 15 from the cover because of aiming angles, which is really, it's pretty minimal, but take the shot, and we managed to put him down. So that takes care of the first pod, which is probably about half the aliens on the map. Scouts don't typically have huge complements, especially in March. You know, you're probably averaging around 7 aliens, counting the outsider. And so now I figure this is probably a good chance to take the opposite side of the road, since there's actually some pretty good high cover availability here. So you get people into high cover, get some reloads. Want to make sure that just in case, usually you want to try to keep some overwatch too, but this is a pretty strong position. So we're going to go ahead and reload. Stand in the open when there's no active aliens is usually pretty safe. Grab the meld. It's an extra 5 meld. Can't really complain about that. So, as I was saying, standing in the open is usually pretty safe until aliens are activated because they only get the one move to cover. They don't typically shoot on that opening move, although they can. Um, so you've got a chance to kind of sit there using Overwatch. You might be able to pick off a few guys, hurt them. So, which is exactly what we're doing here, set up for the Overwatch. Now I do get an audio cue here. I'm pretty sure that it was the nothing actually being heard, which is usually indicative of an outsider, right there in the middle of the UFO. But unfortunately, since this is future me, I don't remember exactly, and so it may have actually been the sectoid noise, and that causes me to kind of decide that I need to establish kind of a wide front so that I have the best chance of getting some shots from Overwatch on any sectoids if they do end up patrolling into my location. So we kind of fan out left, get a couple people there, establish that the people in the back that can move up, take position. The shotgun I'm not as worried about because long range Overwatch isn't going to happen with the shotgun anyway. That gives me a pretty wide net, and I just have to get my meld retriever back up here into position. Fortunately, she doesn't have to reload, so she can just dash it up. We kind of a shift left, gives us good sight lines both left and right from those covered positions. And, of course, with all that preparation, nothing actually happens. So now I've got more decisions to make. Do I take the roof? Roof gives you some pretty good sight lines. You know, it gets you over a lot of the shorter walls. You can see over them. And so I think that maybe it's a good idea to get somebody up onto the roof there. So I've established another pretty good front to engage from if anything wanders into me. But of course now, oh hey, we're sectoids and we're actually way over here. So now I've got to move to address that. They're coming in slightly from behind and to the right of my line, and that's just all kinds of not healthy. So run forward, grab that nice high cover. Now I actually barely revealed somebody, and here I am looking for them, and oh, look at that, there they are. So I know we've got a couple sectoids and a drone over there, and now I've got to decide how exactly do we want to handle this. They're not activated, so if I'm careful, I can get set up for a potential overwatch if they walk into me. So we get some covered firing positions there on the car, and I know I don't have a lot of time to set up for these guys, and I've just came from this area. So I figure that dashing back to the positions I was just in is probably pretty safe. And just try to get these people into an L shape, which gives you an L shape ambush means that no matter where they're taking cover from, they're probably exposed on the other side. And then this last person kind of here in the back, and that's kind of as a backstop just in case something shows up behind me. But the enemies are nice enough that they just keep wandering in the fog area there, so I know that I still have time. They're still not revealed. But now I've got to figure out how do I move forward and get good firing positions without actually triggering them. Or do I just trigger them and work from there? I mean, my positions aren't horrible. So I go for the rear building because I feel that it might be a opportunity to draw them into it, and then I realize that I'm blocking the access point there with that troop, which was not the best planning on my part. But there's still some high cover on the ground floor that I can take, so it all works out in the end. Keep shifting right. Everybody's shifting right. And you see, we've got making this kind of long L shape here, with the intent of having the enemy run right into a position that they can't take cover from all angles on. Of course, having taken all that time to set that up. They decided to turn around and come back the other direction. Of course, Overwatch is being very nice to me right now. I'm not looking at much over 50% on any of those, and managing making some contact. That was a 21%, and boom, that drone's out of action. Now, I do have to find the rest of the guys. They weren't nice enough to stay everybody in sight. But, again, I have the high ground in the rear building, and now I just got to move forward and get some eyes on, hopefully avoiding any kind of overwatch. We don't like running into overwatch. We like having the enemy do that. But I've found the drone. It's a 34%. It's not great. The half cover there isn't necessarily ideal, but at this point I don't think I'm going to pull them back through that opening. And even if I do, it's quite likely that they're going to end up in a high cover position off those walls. And I'd rather make sure that they have to fight from low cover. I toyed with the idea of that truck as high cover and then discard it in favor of this corner cover, since that protects me from any angle these guys can approach me on. Unfortunately, I don't have a good firing position on either target from here. The drone's flying bonus to defense, and then that full cover from the sectoid, even with the aiming angles, just wasn't enough to give me anything that I was confident in. But we continue to push up. We know that that sectoid is not sitting back there in Overwatch, not that he should have been able to be, seeing as that he was just activated. But continue getting people into position, get some people hunkering because they're a little bit exposed, expecting that drone to just kind of rush forward and take a pot shot at somebody. Then I decided that why not take a chance? Because rookies, that's why. Last few people put onto Overwatch just as a measure of protection. Just want to make sure that nobody can get around you. So he takes a 1% shot there, and thankfully the RNG did not decide to take matters into its own hands. Fortunately, my Overwatch on the drone goes wide. I get another chance, 21%. Boom. I don't know what about that trooper. I guess Argentinians are really good at reactions. Like they have really good reflexes or something, because she was just drilling these 21% like it was nobody's business. Now I've got a sectoid stuck back there in a very exposed position, and looky here. This is going to be a flank with an elevation bonus. Now, it shouldn't be possible for me to miss that, right? That's an 81. And sure enough, I put him on the ground. And with that, I mostly have to determine how am I going to actually attack the UFO. I come up with a plan of circling around to the right due to the fact that there's a door that I determine is still closed, or I think is still closed, and it should provide a way that I can circle around, not expose myself to detection from the UFO, and get in close without revealing myself to the outsider, and try to set up a really good ambush. Get some people on the roof, swing the rest of the troops around wide to the right. I'll basically just shut up and let you watch the maneuvering. It's a bunch of turns of running and Overwatch and running and Overwatch, while I try to finagle my way in without getting sight into the UFO proper. And it takes me a little while because I'm playing nice and cautious. I've had a good run so far. Nobody's dead. I'd like to keep it that way. So I'll just shut up again. Like I said, I'm not very good at it apparently, but I'll be quiet and let you guys watch.
So here is something somewhat important to explain. I move up not to the edge to where I can peek over, but one back. That low cover wall that's in front of that trooper is going to prevent her from seeing down into the UFO. And I want to make sure that I don't trigger that outsider if he's down right there. And so they'll just kind of stand up there admiring the view of the wall instead of down into the UFO while the rest of the team continues their flanking run around to the side. Now I'm looking at my approach. Now the door is open, so I have to be a little bit careful. See how I've revealed, I was prepared just in case that might have revealed the outsider. Um, so I had some ideas on how I might handle that. But with the troops up on top, that provided me a potential flanking opportunity. So I start moving in, and I'm trying to really determine, how can I get troops up against that wall without seeing in? I'm going to want some people around the back end as well. Now I'm starting to think, well, maybe I can get a three point of approach to where I've got somebody coming in the door, I've got somebody around the right side, somebody around the left side. So I'm looking at that. That doesn't look like a very safe run because it's going to cross me right in front of the doorway. But now I've got an idea that the outsider is back in the corner somewhere, which does give me a little bit more freedom of maneuver in the front. So I've decided that if he's right back there, and I can run around, I might be able to push him back toward the flanking members of my party by getting somebody around to the right. So, how do we handle that? Well, the first thing we do, since we know that he's all the way in the back corner there, is we get the people off the roof and more toward where they're going to be able to get some flanking opportunities. Again, you don't want to run all the way up to the corner because you'll peek around the corner. So make sure you're against the wall. You've got as much space forward as you can without seeing back to the revealing area, and you just queue up ready to run. So that's why she's there, and I'm like, oh, I've got a couple extra steps there I might be able to take. But first off, let's get your teammate down there with you. And that is going to require a dash. But we're pretty safe at this point. We've got good visibility, good sight lines. We're pretty sure the outsider is the only remaining hostile on the map. Now we take Likachev and our shotgunner, Kosir, around the side. Get Camu moving. Now, the idea is by moving back, I don't reveal any more territory, and then I might be able to move them forward to that wall on the right side of the doorway. Doesn't necessarily mean I have to loop everybody around, but you just want to make sure that you're really managing how the pathing is taking you. Because your troops don't necessarily know that you're not trying to see that specific spot. And they'll take pretty much the most direct route. They're being efficient with their movement, even if it doesn't look that way necessarily sometimes. So you got to be very careful, and sometimes you'll have to do a slow approach where you take a short blue move and then a dash to get into position and wait an extra turn before making your attack, just so that you don't trip anything you don't want to. Now, boom, that was, I didn't think I was going to get that. I thought he was a little bit further out the back, and he moved right into the center of the UFO. Now on the bright side, I've got people on the left that are already pretty much in perfect position to flank. And so I don't have to panic just yet. I've got the opportunity to still make this a pretty swift and easy maneuver. So after a bunch of waffling about where I want to put people, I finally decided just to be straightforward, take the flank, and of course, rookies being rookies. That's another missed flank attempt. I find it funny that I'm hitting all these 20% Overwatch shots, but those 70% flanking attacks are no hope. So the easiest way to deal with the outsider, especially at this point, is just to, keep them suppressed all to hell with flashbangs. That's going to reduce his movement radius, so he can't run away and maneuver on me as easy. It's going to reduce his aim, so he can't shoot me as easy. And frequently, it just kind of puts them into a panic. They're flashbang, they know they can't hit anything, they just try to run. And so it's getting everybody into position, expecting him to run, so getting to Overwatch. Where going to be able to put everybody so they're going to be able to get those reaction shots when he breaks from cover. Really, this is just kind of following the maximum of infantry tactics, especially back in World War II, which was you find them, you fix them, you flank them, you finish them. It's the 4 Fs. And this is exactly what we're doing. That flashbang keeps him in position, fixes him in position, hopefully, or if he runs, he's not going to run very far, and hopefully not to good cover. So now we just start hauling butt and trying to get into a position that we're not going to be flanked ourselves, because even with this aim cut down, range bonuses take effect after the fact, which is dangerous, because if you get out a plus 20% range bonus, well, even if you cut his aim in half, that 20% ends up on the top. So our Overwatch fire misses as he breaks cover, which is unfortunate, but he dashes, he runs hard, and that's just all the farther he gets. So now I've got to figure, okay, well, now what do? We want to keep him in position. We want to make sure he can't get away. So I've got my infantry there, trying to figure out, okay, well, I can move around to the side. I'll take that. It gets me that much closer. I can loop along on the right. Got a guy here with an AP grenade, but is that really necessary? Well, not really, because Amar here has another flashbang. So, poor outsider, you're still stuck there, nowhere to go, nothing to do, can't see, can't hear, not that they really have eyes and ears, I suppose, but keep pushing these flanking runs. Hey, look, got another flank. 63%. Nope. That's 2 in a row. But what are you going to do? As long as the flashbangs hold out, I can keep doing this for days. To be fair, I think I only have 2 left. 1 or 2. One on Likachev here, and I think the infantry had one as well. So again, we got the outsider flanked, which means he's probably going to run. So it's just a matter of zipping forward, getting people on Overwatch, and praying that if I can keep missing the 60%, maybe those 30% will come through for me. And there he goes. You see all those 30%, 30, 32, 33, and swing and a miss. Once, twice, and thrice. So he dashes out the back of the UFO. He's just fully intent on getting as far away from us as possible, and I don't plan on letting him do that at all. This is just to keep moving forward, keep the suppression on. As you see, I have another flashbang here on the infantry, and look at that, I can get him. So, flashbang number 3. Poof. Congratulations, you can't see or react or run very far again. Of course, now we're having the issue of these people coming into the UFO really don't have very good sight lines trying to come through. I'm trying to figure out where can I put them that's not going to leave them flanked, what's going to potentially get them a shot. And when it comes down to it, it may just be an option just to dash them forward. But first off, we still have our Wonder Trooper of flank missing goodness, who's going to get her 3rd attempt at the flanking shot. And that time she manages to connect. That's 5 damage. should get his attention, keeps him moving. He's not going to sit there and just remain flanked. So now we want to get people into position. Lukachev here has another flashbang, so I know that if I have to pull this another turn, I can still push it another turn and keep him suppressed with those flashbangs. Everybody else needs to get somewhere where they're going to be able to get into play and actually do something. Fortunately, there's not a lot of options. Not a lot of options. But I do eventually finally settle on some positions to dash on up to. Really, it was just a matter of I just really needed to close some range. I needed to get my troops closer, otherwise they were going to be caught out and just really not able to help at all. And I needed them into position. Now, normally that would be a horrible place to be for the potential of the outsider just to come and flank the heck out of you. However, he's probably not going to move there because, well, he'd be flanked still. Aliens really don't like to be flanked, with the exception of drones, really. And potentially, well, aliens that don't use cover as well, like mechtoids, for example. They're not going to bother because they don't want to die. They're not dumb. Except that guy kind of is. He's had nowhere else to go, and so he tried to run away, but his range was terrible. And now he's just stuck in the open. Got people all around him with guns and angry looks on their faces. Got a crit there. He's hurt. The regen just isn't going to hack it. Going to move into position to continue providing cover on that side. So if he tries to run that direction, I have options. But really, unless something goes horrifically wrong, the poor guy's got no hope in the world. Nice clear line of sight. And that's a dead outsider, assuming you want to call them alive to begin with. So, got 9 kills. No one got hurt. No one dead. All around, a fairly resounding success. Kind of nice rebound after losing a rookie on that abduction. Get some good materials from the UFO. They tend to give you alloys and Illyrium, and with that power core intact, we'll probably see a pretty significant supply of Illyrium. Of course, first things first, and all the rookies of the PFCs got promoted. Our specialist didn't, but it's hardly rational to expect that she'd promote twice in 2 missions. So pretty much the best case scenario. We've got no one hurt, no one dead, and 5 more specialists to our name. Although I won't be promoting them just yet. Kind of wait until I have a need of a certain class before I try to find somebody to fill it. It does give us some new research options, alien computers. We got some corpses, a couple drone wrecks, 32 Illyrium, which is a fairly big deal. 14 alloys, 9 fragments, a little bit of meld. We did get an intact computer, which is always nice. The intact power source, also nice. And then, of course, the damaged computer, which, while not useful for a research purpose, can be sold on the gray market for some money. And we like money. And with that, might as well just go ahead and do that right away. It's a solid 15 supplies for us, credits, space bucks, whatever you want to call it. I've started to amass some corpses, some wrecks, some Illyrium. The alloys are a little bit lower than I might like, but not much to do about it. And at this point, there's really nothing to do but scan. We're looking for what's going to be next. We're going to get another UFO to tackle. We've got people asking for stuff. Brazil leaves. That's something hard-coded into Long War. The aliens actually have a base and they have a plan of attack. And so one of the council nations has to leave immediately. Or, well, in the first month. And so for us, it's Brazil, which kind of sucks. I kind of like hitting South America. It's an easy second continent bonus. But we'll probably see Argentina coming under attack next. The aliens tend to like coming through, and they kind of move from one spot on the continent to another spot on the continent. On the bright side, Argentina's panic's really low, and that gives us a good opportunity of maybe being able to defend. They'll probably have to do 2, maybe 3 terror missions to push that forward into where the Argentinians might leave. Argentinians? Yeah. Anyway, to where they might leave the council. So, with that, we have another abduction. This one will be in Montreal, Royal Mountain, and it's another light, so should be pretty easy. Another good training mission for us. But until then, I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll come back for more, and take care.